Good afternoon. I want to thank everybody who joins us in Ukraine Media Center Ukrinform. It's year 9 of the war and day 324 of the heroic resistance of the Ukrainian people. And now we will be talking about the situation in Kherson region. Joining us online is Halyna Luhova, the military governor of Kherson city. Ms. Halyna, good afternoon. Ms. Halyna, are you hearing us? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Do you hear us? Are we clear and loud? Seems there are minor breakdowns or breakups. Ms. Halyna, are you hearing us? I'm asking our technical team to check the quality of connection. Yes, I'm hearing you, but the connection is breaking up. Well, I'm hoping you're hearing us right now. Good afternoon, Ms. Halyna. Well, I wish everybody a peaceful day. The wars are being cut, but I hope we're gonna be able to make it. So, okay, let's continue. Ms. Halyna, we know that Kherson region is under incessant shelling by the occupiers. Unfortunately, there are horrific victims, horrific casualties. What's the situation as of now? What can you tell us about the aftermath of such strikes for the last days and maybe from the moment of the occupation in general? Well, I have to state that the enemy keeps shelling the city of Kherson. There were 7 shellings since the beginning of this day, from the very morning, with using cannon, artillery, MLRS, and mortars. There is 1 casualty and 1 more person injured. The districts of Ostriv, Antonivka, and the village of Nadripralske and Inženerne were shelled as well. In the night, there were shellings on utility municipal transport base. 16 vehicles were damaged. There is also also 1 security guard was injured. We are trying to find out more details about the casualties and injured people and the scale of damage. Now there are teams of National Police and National Emergency Service working on spots, clearing the debris. Also, I have to state that the city is 98% provided with water supply, 75 to 80% we cover the needs of electric power supply and heat supply. Somewhere in this region, but the enemy keeps shelling our power infrastructure, and I want to appreciate the work of our electric power technicians who renew the power supply all the time. And the same situation is with heat supply. A number of districts in our city are without heat supply due to the damage of the heat supply substation. I'm talking about the district of Korabelny, because we cannot pump water in the substation over there, which is damaged, is close to the wharf right near the river, and the enemy keeps shelling this territory, sometimes in the depth of 700 meters to 1 kilometer. The enemy keeps shelling it with mortars and MLRS. Sometimes there are also snipers working in that direction, as well as even tanks. So that there is no way to get access to this substation, to this heat supply substation. Some of the areas are heavily damaged. In this sector, the enemy keeps observing the movement of vehicles and people around the area, and they don't let our technical personnel approach the substation. The same situation is with power in the district of Antonievka, because the substations are located in the right bank, and all the specialists who try to approach the area, they are being put in jeopardy due to the work of enemy snipers. And as soon as they spot any movement, they open fire immediately, sniper fire and mortars. We had a resilience station in Antonievka, in Starostinsky community, and this resilience station was shot at by a tank and completely destroyed, so people had to move away from there. The district of Gavan is also very hazardous. About 200 families remain there. We bring the furnaces there. We bring the food ratios there. People don't have heat supply there. Their electric power grid is also damaged, and the volunteers keep coming there with all those necessary things like blankets and warm clothing. We support the people to the best of our capabilities there. In Ostriv, there is also a resilience station deployed, so we want to deploy another heating station where people can recharge their gadgets and get heated, drink a cup of hot tea. We have a supply of food ratios, of hot snacks there. There is also a sector with a number of apartment blocks which remain without heat supply, and there is no opportunity to reestablish the heat supply there, because the municipal authorities were letting the private entrepreneurs to work in those facilities. Everything is legalized, but it currently gives us no possibility to reestablish the heat supply, and it doesn't give us possibility to do any repair works on those facilities. One, two. Ms. Halyna, are you hearing us? In case of disconnection of heat supply, and if the power is being shut down, the generator is switching on in the resilience stations. Also, we're taking care of the shelters. We outfit them with necessary equipment, blankets, beds, flashlights. We cooperate with the Red Cross and United Nations organization, and along with other charity organizations. They help us a lot currently. Upon my request, we had one concrete shelter delivered, which was deployed in the center of the city, and there are 4 more on the way to be provided by that charity fund. It's absolutely free of charge, so our inhabitants, God forbid anything like this happens, but we all remember the Black Saturday of the 24th of December, when this terrible event happened in our city with 10 casualties in 1 single second and way more people injured. So we installed this concrete structure in the center of the city, because people only have 2 to 4 seconds to react to mortar fire or MLRS fire or cannon artillery fire. So God forbid again if for this to happen ever, but people should have an opportunity to get into the shelter because it protects against all the incoming and shrapnel that cover our city all the time. The situation today is very tense. The critical infrastructure installations are being destroyed. Now it's 38 of them damaged, along with the 47 educational institutions, and 925 residential buildings are destroyed, including 371 apartment blocks. And within one day, we have 8 more private buildings added to this number and 8 more apartment blocks. So just recently, our maternity home was damaged. More than 50 windows were broken, and another maternity home in Dniprovsky district was damaged back in the previous year. The maternity department of the hospital was shelled twice when just the cesarean section was just over right before the shelling, and the mother was transferred to another department. Our regional hospital was shelled twice by the enemy just recently. For this, they shelled it for the second time. So there is nothing sacred for the enemy. They keep killing our people, and they destroy their infrastructure installations, residential areas. The situation is very complicated in the city. Within the last week, more than 1,000 inhabitants left, including 593 of those who left. 333 left by bus, including 26 children, and 260 people left by train, including 48 children, and 13 more persons with limited mobility, I mean disabled people. Miss Natalia, are you hearing us? Which is, we're trying to reestablish the connection. Private vehicles which also line in a long queue, so people are trying to leave the city. As to the number of people who still remain in Kherson, what's your estimate of this number, of this figure? According to your calculations, what is the number of people remaining in the city? The funds are being allocated by the United Nations organizations, so I think that it's about 60,000 people which remain in the heroic city of Kherson. 10 supermarkets are working in the city. We have sufficient bread. The pharmacies are operating along with the departments of, along with the post offices. We distribute pensions. There is an armored vehicle with a representative of Ukrposhta coming in Starostinska community, quite a hazardous area, under incessant shelling by the enemy. There is no single part of city of Kherson which would not have been reached by the shellings of the occupiers. So people are in constant jeopardy, but still they get their pensions. There are police patrols all around the city, both in the day and in the night time. In one word, Kherson is holding on. The hospitals are operating in normal mode. They are fully provided with necessary medicines. Kherson is unbreakable and it will keep standing, and we will reach. I have 100%. I'm 100% assured that we will stand until the very end of this war, until our victory. I'm sure that our left bank will be liberated soon. The enemy will be pushed away at least 40 kilometers to make us safe against these MLRS and cannon artillery and tanks. We understand that the enemy may use another missiles like they used to do, S-300 missile and white phosphorus bombs, but I believe that we will stand until the end, and the citizens of Kherson will hold our Ukrainian banner up high. We believe that we will win. We're trusting our victory, but I just can't help but asking about the number of casualties since the liberation. I'm not hearing you quite well. You're breaking up. I'm repeating my question as to the number of casualties among the civil population since the moment of the occupation. What's the total number of casualties? Unfortunately, I can't make out anything you're saying. The words are being cut off. Oh, are you hearing us right now? Well, unfortunately, we will have to wrap up our briefing. The communication is quite bad, unfortunately. So, dear friends, joining us was Halyna Luhova, the military governor of Kherson City. Bear with us right now. Our team is preparing the schedule of briefings for the next week, so follow our announcements, trust in our armed forces, and work for our victory together. Glory to the Ukraine, glory to the heroes.